Hey there, I'm Dale Stubblefield, and today we're going to take a look at a quick App Engine demo. This will be for the San Diego release of App Engine version 21.1.3. This is the San Diego second version that came out around mid-May 2022. A couple of things we'll cover in the next few minutes. We'll talk about how citizen developers get onboarded. That can be any type of creator, whether that's someone who's just starting out on ServiceNow, all the way up to maybe an advanced IT developer. We'll talk a little bit about the App Engine Studio environment where they will build their application. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about how we can use DevOps and some built-in governance to get that app to production using App Engine Management Center. So first, let's start out with the citizen development intake. So in this scenario, we are a user named Nicole Green. Let's switch to our prod environment. You can see in the corner, I'm in Nicole Prod. And this is a very bare bones employee service center. You might be using Service Portal or a more robust employee service center. But the idea is she is going to find this catalog item. This catalog item can be configured with whatever questions you want on it. This is the one that's provided out of the box. So let's say Nicole has been managing telework requests in a spreadsheet. Managing remote work requests in a she's gonna manage these remote work requests digitally. She'll answer these questions. She'll say who are the users, people that want to work remotely, and she will submit that. So this is going to create what we call an intake request. So as the App Engine administrator here in the production environment, I might not even be the platform administrator. I'm just a person with the App Engine admin role. I'm going to log in for the day, and I will see Nicole's request here at the top. I'll take a look at it, and if it looks good to me, I will go ahead and approve Nicole's request to build her application. Now, I could add some additional steps here. Maybe I have a workflow that requires Nicole to do some now learning training or look at some best practices my company might have. But for this quick demo, we're just going to approve her access. Now, what will happen is Nicole will get an email saying her request was received, and then she'll get another email saying that her request was approved. And that email will direct her to the dev environment to start building. So Nicole would go to the dev environment. She would, in her email, have a link directly to App Engine Studio, but it's pretty easy to find here. And App Engine Management Center actually set her account up and made sure she had the right permissions. So let's say Nicole wants to build an app in App Engine Studio. I'm going to kind of skip some of the App Engine Studio part and save that for a separate demo. But let's say she's already built her application to do telework requests. She put in a couple of tables. She has a record producer. She has a nice workspace to get work done. She has some flows that she's built out and maybe some roles. Nicole might want to add a collaborator. So maybe she wants Fred Luddy to help her with her app. Now, Fred does not have admin access or any access in the dev environment. Nicole is going to send that out, and that creates what we call a collaboration request. So in App Engine Management Center, if I go back and refresh the page, I'll notice at the top there will be a collaboration request for Fred. Now in my demo here, Fred's actually already approved, so he doesn't get a request. But a typical collaboration request will say someone like Nicole has submitted that for a person to work on the app with them. You would approve it, and it would give that person access to then collaborate on the app in the other environment. So in this case, let's say Nicole's ready to deploy to production. She would click submit, She would go to submit her app. She would give it a version, which is already filled out for her. And she might say, added an amazing new feature. She would hit continue, which is a little behind this banner in the corner. If she had, someone had hooked her app up to source control, it would be committed right there at that time. In this case, Nicole's not quite doing that, so she'll just hit close. And for now, she'll get an email saying her app has been submitted for review, and she cannot submit a new version until this deployment request is resolved. So if she were to say, go do something else and come back to her app, it now says cancel submission, so she can cancel it and resubmit. But for now, let's go back to the prod environment as our App Engine administrator. And we can see here is Nicole's deployment request. If we were to open that up, we would see our App Engine pipeline is development, testing, production. Within here, a flow was kicked off for approvals to the App Engine admins group. And these users only have the App Engine admin role. They are not platform administrators. Within here, you can see there's good old Dale Stubblefield. He can approve this, and he will. I'll go ahead and approve Nicole's deployment request. And that really is an approval for it to go from one environment to the next environment. Behind the scenes, it is going to go to dev, check the app into what we call the app repo. And here is an illustration to show that. So when Nicole submitted that deployment request to the App Engine Management Center, here's where we're at now. We did this approval, and it's going to check the app into what we call the application repository. It's going to go to the test environment, and it's going to deploy that app from the application repository to the test environment. It will then run the automated test framework. So those are some UI tests that you would set up to automatically run against your app. There's a sample one provided for App Engine apps that you can test out. Obviously, you want to expand on. It will then run the instant scan application against the app as well to check for best practices. For example, you might want to check to see if there is any there are any custom scripts in Nicole's app. When these results are done, it will go back to App Engine Management Center. If Nicole's app failed any of these tests, it would email her and let her know she had failed the test and to submit a new version of her app. If it passed testing, which it will in our demo, there would be another round of approvals. So let's take a look at that. So we'll refresh our page there. If you want to see what apps are in your instance and what are available in your application repository, you go to My Company Applications, and you can see apps that have been published from your development environment. So if I go to installed here and I type telework request, you can see there's the app, there's 1.0.9, and there's when it was uploaded right there. Pretty cool. It also, if we go back to prod, we can see there is a deployment environment results record that shows us that there was a successful test, no failed tests, and so we've now moved it to test. If we wanted, we could do some manual UAT at this point on top of the automated testing, but in my case, I'm actually okay with what Nicole has done, and I'm going to go ahead and approve this to roll out to production. Now, at this point, I could integrate this with ITSM change management to open a change and then deploy upon that approved change. I could even change this workflow out to say, if the user is Nicole, and maybe she's in a certain group, if she passed testing, I will auto approve and auto deploy. So that way you can have true DevOps with your App Engine applications. For today, I'm just going to manually approve it. That will then deploy the app straight to the production environment. So just real quick there. We looked at citizen development intake. We talked about low-code app development. And we even managed to talk about how we can do DevOps and governance using App Engine Management Center. Put some questions down in the comments if you have any. Otherwise, give me a like and subscribe. Thanks.